yeah, I know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. Yeah, Spencer, every day is a bench day for Spencer. He just rolls in,
when I'm there in the morning,
loads
you
it
know,
up,
and
bench,
then
bench, bench.
what Culture? Have you been to Culture, Brad?
I have not been to Culture. I've heard good things.
It's a TikTok, like
the influencer girlies.
It's the influencer, man.
For sure.
That's why
It definitely makes me lift heavier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the cameras are on.
Yeah, you never know. You know, even
on.
even the workers, they're coming there. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do the boxing because I want to get on the stories.
Yeah.
So I just want to get on
He's
the
always
on the
promoting.
Insta. You
He's
got
always
to, right?
promoting.
It's branding.
Let's go.
Brad knows how it goes. Muscle camp.
Yup. The one, the only.
Established 2021, man. You guys been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Time flies. Time absolutely flies. But yeah, 5 years.
Time is a flat circle.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Well, this is Rooted in Idaho. We've got Brad Cross on the podcast today. Brad, are you head trainer at Pivot?
I'm just a trainer. I would say
Okay.
I'm one of the head trainers. I try to avoid titles.
Okay.
I try to avoid titles in that
Well,
He
responsibility.
gets people stronger, faster, leaner,
Yes.
more muscular.
Yes, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
And speaking on that, it's remember Rooted in Idaho, real people, real stories, real Idaho.
Ooh.
Right,
Yes,
Casey?
that's right. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Branding,
Real.
right? Branding.
All about
Plug.
branding. As neither Spencer
I
and
just
I are
wrecked
wearing
the whole
anything
flow of
branded.
this whole
No.
interview.
This thing's flowing great.
It's flowing.
Absolutely.
But Brad, usually this is how we start the podcast. We just kind of cold open, like we just
Cool.
roll into a conversation.
Love it.
And that's kind of how we like to start the podcast. And then we introduce you as we just did.
Sweet.
And then we'll talk a little bit about you and your story and
Okay.
learnings and get to know you a little bit, get to know
Sweet.
what you have going on. And then we'll do a couple of our fun segments and we'll get you out of here. We'll get you a snack and we'll get you on your way.
Sweet.
Protein.
I
Yeah.
came
Protein.
for the snack. I came for the snack.
Yeah. So as stated, Brett is a trainer at Pivot, Pivot Lifestyle
Yeah.
by
a
Kristen
lot.
Armstrong.
It's a lot, yeah.
The
Yes,
GOAT.
Kristen
goat.
Armstrong, the GOAT. Obviously, Olympian, gold medalist, three-time gold medal winner, and she's got a park named after her. She's
Yep.
got a gym in downtown Boise. I saw her on the Channel 7 when the Olympics were going on. She was there. They were doing like their Olympic. Like half hour before the prime time Olympics would come on, she'd be there, kind of breaking down. Here's how the athletes are probably feeling. Here's what they're thinking about. Everything like that. So, and Kristen's always in the gym. Like I just saw Kristen this morning actually in the gym.
Really?
So
What does she look? I've never seen her. I probably have and just didn't know it was her.
Show up like more like midday.
Yeah, it must be nice, Casey. Midday.
yeah. Well, today I got to the
workers
gym
here.
about 7:45. So
You were there? Yeah.
I was there, but it was about 7:45.
I was there at
slept in.
5:30.
Wow.
Ooh.
Do
Yeah.
you want?
Took
Let's
a
get him a
shower,
sticker.
out by 7:30.
Wow.
Dips, push-ups, prison workout
Let's
like
get
we
him a-
talked about.
Let's get him a gold star.
Let's go.
Get him a gold star.
Love it.
Yeah, my favorite Kristen story, real side story here. So Quinn and I were at Pivot one morning, and Quinn, who is owns D's Ice Cream Trolley, who we had on the podcast.
Yep.
Quinn was trying to run a promotion with CrossFit Casual, Brian, who we also had on the podcast.
Brian's awesome.
And so they were doing this thing down at the trolley that was like they brought a pull-up bar down to the trolley, and they were doing this like if you can hang for a certain amount of time, you get like a free micro scoop. So it was kind of like a collaboration between CrossFit Casual and D's Ice Cream Trolley. Try to get people down, just like a fun little event. And so we were in the gym trying to figure out what should the time be for like how long people would have to hang in order to get a free scoop, like a free micro scoop, right?
Yeah.
So we're just like kind of messing around. So we were like, I don't really know. So I was like, well, let's just see if like a minute, like let's see how hard or easy that is.
Yeah.
So I went up and I hung from the bar for like a minute, and I was like, that wasn't like
Doable.
yeah, super doable. Like
Yeah.
I did it for a minute. I dropped down after a minute just because I was like, yeah, I mean that I probably could have gone for another, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds, I think. Like that's kind of what I was saying.
Exercising every day, though. So
Right,
pretty
exactly.
He also weighs
But-
like 150 pounds. Come on now.
170. Come on, give me some credit.
He's bulking. It's bulking season.
But then Kristen was like watching this go down, and as soon as I dropped down from the bar, and again, I didn't go to like max effort. I was just like, let's see how hard a minute is.
Yeah,
so I hit a minute. Kristen's like, how long did you do? And I was like, oh, just a minute. She immediately jumps up and she hangs onto the bar and gets to like a minute 2 and then drops down. Just
that competitive edge.
Oh,
is
wow.
real,
she's a competitor. I was like, I can
Oh,
see why
yeah.
you're
Did
an
you know it was
Olympian.
her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
her?
yeah.
Okay.
No, I know Kristen. So,
Yeah.
so she'd also be a great podcast guest.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was so funny. It was just like that competitive spirit where I was like, well, I wasn't like maxing out Kristen,
Yeah.
like, but she just immediately was like, I got to do 2 seconds more than
No,
you
you
did.
see that fire come out of her quite often, right?
I think
It
just
hits.
it was either yesterday morning or this morning. She was in in one of the classes in the pod room, and she was going hard on the ski erg.
Oh yeah.
We were both, Quinn and I were like, look how hard Kristen's going on the ski erg.
Yep.
She gets after it.
100%. And that's what I love to see. I love to see passion from anybody. And like she has a ton of passion about the things that she's passionate about.
Yeah.
I love to see that. So
Absolutely.
So how'd you get connected with her?
Chance timing. I came to Boise for Boise State. I got my MBA there, and then I was graduating from my MBA, needed a gig, and her gym happened to be hiring. So it just worked out.
Wow.
So did you come to Boise State for your MBA program, or were you there for undergrad as well?
No. I grew up in Oregon. I grew up in Central Oregon, and I went to undergrad at University of Oregon in Eugene. My original plan was to be a physical therapist, but as I would have been graduating and applying for physical therapy schools, they turned it from a 2-year master's degree to a 3-year doctorate degree. So cost, both from a time perspective and financial perspective, increased 50%. Like that just doesn't make any sense anymore, right? So then I was pivoting and trying to figure out what to do. Always kind of had an MBA in the back of my mind as an option, right?
Yeah.
Always been kind of interested in that. But I wanted to go to grad school only if I could get somebody else to pay for it because I didn't want the student loans, right? So I got a graduate assistantship at Boise State, and that's what brought me here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you move here then?
Oh my God, this is so cool. I actually get to talk to you about this. You were the first person I actually met in Boise. I don't even know if you remember this.
That's so funny.
I brought this up to Gloria a couple times in the morning when we're doing the
Really?
workouts. So I moved here, I guess it would have been 2017.
Okay.
I moved here for the graduate assistantship that would have started in that fall. But I moved early because I didn't have anything going on in Oregon. So I moved early, started working over the summer, right? So it was the summer of 2017, I believe. And I think you were just finishing. I had just worked out at the rec center.
Okay, it was at the rec center. So actually, I wasn't even just finishing because I didn't even go to school at Boise State. I just worked out at the rec center.
Okay.
I just was like, this is a cool gym. And
do you remember our conversation?
I
in the
remember
sauna?
meeting you.
Yeah, in the sauna.
Okay.
And then
Of all places to meet.
We're both naked.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
exactly. We're just talking in the
Edit
sauna.
that out, please.
And it was just before you had started the still. You were talking about like the ice cream brand and stuff like that.
That's
We were
so
just
cool.
chopping it up about that. Then here we are.
Well, it's funny because obviously I see you so many mornings now. Like I see Brad all the time because I work out at Pivot, plug. No free ads, but plug for Pivot. And so I see you all the time. And it's like one of those things where I don't know how long we've been going to Pivot, probably since around 2020.
Yeah.
Probably the last like 5 or 6 years. And I know that I saw you there and I was like, I remembered you from being at Boise State because were you working at Boise State? Okay, so you were working in the rec center.
Exactly.
And so I knew that I knew you from there, but I didn't like know you well. But it was like one of those things that's like, I know that guy. I don't, but that's so funny. I didn't realize I was like one of the first people you met here. That's really funny. I love that
So
gym.
you landed at the gym when you first got here, basically.
Well, he was at the
What do you
Boise
mean?
State rec.
At Boise
Boise
State.
State. Yeah,
At
yeah,
Boise
yeah.
State.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because I got the graduate assistantship. In the graduate assistantship, essentially, I managed the personal training department there. And
Gotcha.
in return, they waived my tuition.
That's a pretty sweet gig.
That's a sweet.
Agreed.
So where in Central Oregon? Where are you from?
Lapine, Oregon. You know where Bend is? Most people know where Bend
Oh,
is. It's
yeah.
about 30 to 40 minutes south. Little tiny town.
Small town?
Very small
How
town.
many people?
7,000-ish.
Okay.
Right? In my graduating class, we had the biggest graduating class when I graduated, 2007. I think it was like just over 100-ish people, like 115-ish. So pretty
Wow.
small.
Wow, good golf over there though.
That's what I hear. I
Yeah.
was not into the golf scene back then. But
Great golf.
Yeah, I know. Well, have you always been into working out, even like growing up, high school? all the time?
What's your villain origin story for the gym? Like, did you
Uh,
get your heart broken and then you ended up in the gym? Or
No, I have
sports?
used it through heartbreaks numerous times, right? But that's not how I started. I started just lifting weights in the backyard with my brother. I got a half brother that's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And I was a little kid, and anything he did, I wanted to do, right? I had the same haircut as him, all that sort of stuff. So he was probably 22-ish, And so that would have put me 11, 12-ish. And he just had a weight bench in his garage. So I would just go over to his house, and he would basically just make fun of me as I'm like struggling to bench the bar, right? Sort of thing. All of our workouts, kind of similar to yours, actually. It was always
prison workout.
It was German volume training.
Okay,
Right? He
yeah.
didn't even know that's
GVT,
what it
yeah.
was. It was 10 by 10 of bench press and
Quinn.
10 by 10 of curls. And we
10
did
by
that-
10?
Yes.
Yeah,
and we
that's-
did that
that's
Monday
Paul-
through Friday.
Yeah, that's
we did that every day.
Paul Quinn German volume
Yeah,
training.
That's
man.
all you did.
That's all we did. That's all we did.
And he was a beast, wasn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
oh, yeah,
there we go.
definitely. He
German
was
volume
stacked.
training.
He was
That's one
stacked.
way to do it for
Yeah.
sure.
So I got like my taste of it there, right, and started getting hooked, and mainly just hanging out with my brother, right?
Yeah.
And then I was playing football at the time. I was not a good football player. I'm a small guy. I was very small in high school, right? So I played, didn't play a lot, right? But they wanted all the football kids to be strong, so they had a strength training for football class, right? And I started going to that, and I loved it. I loved it. They would let us blare the music, and it was me with all of my best friends, all my football team buddies, right? So it was super competitive. We're all about the same age, right? All about the same strength. So we're all just max benching virtually every day, like, come on, right?
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it right from there.
Yeah.
And essentially, that has taken me through my whole career. And that's pretty much, I mean, you see it through the glass. That's basically the same thing we do in muscle camps, right? That's the same kind of vibe we create. We crank the music up, right? It's super loud, obnoxious music, and it's people just lifting super, super heavy, right? We got a bunch of moms and chicks in there. We got chicks in there squatting like 300 pounds now, or close to squatting. Deadlifting 300 pounds. Squatting, the highest female squat we've had is like 250.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dude, that gets me fired up. I'm ready to go lift right now with the
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Let's go get like a
I'm ready
grungy.
at
Let's go get
anytime.
let's go get like a grungy garage,
like
crank
when-
up the rap music and lift some
Yeah.
Love
weights,
it.
baby.
Love it.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he said, "Hey, I just throw weights in the back of the truck and just go up in the mountains and just
100%.
Well, it's always interesting to me because as some, I kind of found my way into fitness in like high school, but it was like the typical aimless, like I'm doing body part splits from bodybuilding.com and, don't really know what I'm doing. And then really found a love for lifting when I was in college. Like that's where I kind of found it. But it's always interesting to me because people who, and I still am in the gym most days of the week, right? It's always interesting to me, like everyone kind of has their origin story of like what gets them in the gym. And how they initially get in there, and then some people fall in love with it and it becomes this like lifelong thing. And other people do it more so like, well, when I was playing football in high school, I had to lift, but it's not necessarily something that they love doing or that they like continue, they'll have sporadic spurts with it throughout their life, and then they'll have phases where they're not doing anything and phases where they get really into it. So it's always interesting to me to kind of hear the backstory of like where you fell in love with it and how, and I'm like totally connecting. Like that's one of my favorite things even to this day is like, I go there with my best friends.
Yeah.
And we just shoot the shit. I mean, we talk more than we lift half the time. But it's like, man, I always think like how lucky am I as I'm almost 35 that I get to see like my best friends every morning and work out and like that connection point. Whereas, we're in this loneliness epidemic, right? Where like a lot of males in their 30s don't have a lot of friends or they don't have those connections. And I'm like, man, this is my like this
Lifting
is so
one
important
of
to
the
me.
best ways to do it. Like a lot of my strongest friendships have been lifting buddies, just like you guys in the
100%.
morning, right? Like that daily or close to daily, you get an hour, 2 hours with somebody and connecting between sets, right? Like some of the best conversations happen.
Well,
there.
you get to learn about what's going on in each other's lives. You get to talk about, talk through the ups and the downs and you see all these different phases and it's just really cool. And it's cool that you guys are creating that with Muscle Camp. And Muscle Camp is like, man, I know Spencer's done a little bit of Muscle Camp, haven't you?
No, I loved it. The timing didn't work. You were so packed. You need to open more classes.
Yeah,
It was late night and I just couldn't do it. Otherwise, I'd be
Demand's just
still
so
doing
high, Demand's so high.
Yeah, I
No,
guess
it is. I know it's packed.
explain Muscle Camp to us a little bit. You're wearing the sweatshirt, but explain Muscle Camps to us.
Muscle Camps has evolved over the years. Now we describe it as an online coaching program, coaching platform that comes with a strength training club, an in-person strength training club. And that's the part you see through the window, right? Is the classes. From the outside, it looks like classes. We consider it more of a strength training club. We get together and we follow the same lifting program together. So everybody has the same lifting program. The lifting program changes every 8 weeks in kind of different phases, right? The phases build off each other, but we customize it to each person within the club based off of their injuries, their goals, their starting point, all that sort of stuff. And we have a super wide variety of people in the program. My youngest person in the 7 a.m. that you're there a lot for is like 28. My oldest person in the program, probably 70 years old, right? So I have huge range in age ranges, huge range in ability levels. So we tweak the program based off of where that person's at. So some of it looks very rehab based. Some of it, we've got chicks that are 35 that are strong as an ox. We're giving them extra workouts to do outside on their own so they can squat or deadlift 300 pounds, right? So it's very variable in terms of how it is applied to the person, if that makes sense.
And it's a community, right? Not just doing the workouts, but things outside of the gym, right? That you're doing together to connect, which is cool.
And going back to what you were saying, right? That's one of the things that I really try and provide is I want that connection because I have felt the benefits of that, right? In terms of lifting with a buddy. Now our sets are done. Let's chat for 2 minutes, right? And those bonds are built. And I see that happening in the classes, right? They hit their hard sets. We give them an app to where they follow their workouts along the app. They have these rest timers. And as soon as they hit the rest timer, what do they start doing? They start chit-chatting, right? And it's awesome. It's awesome. You see the connections building. And now a lot of those ladies, they're like friends outside of class and stuff like that. Little book exchanges, meal prep exchanges. They got kids now, and their kids are hanging out, right? So the community aspect building through the lifting, right? And kind of I like to promote and live, right, a lifestyle of like work hard, play hard, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's shown in the class.
Yeah. That's sick.
Who's your strongest person ever in the class?
And why
Muscle
is it
camp.
Spencer Southey?
Oh, it's got to be Phil. You're close. You're close. Phil became a savage. You were probably in the class with Phil, or he might have been Tuesday, Thursday. You were Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
But Phil, just last week or 2 weeks ago, he squatted 405 clean for a double.
Go, Phil.
Yeah, stacked, dude, and the nicest dude
Stack
ever.
him up. Stack him up, Brad.
Awesome.
I'll be there Friday.
Let's go. Let's go.
6:30.
And then he squatted. What did he squat?
You said he squatted 405.
He squatted 405. He has deadlifted 405. I want to say his best deadlift might be like 420. 420 for
Wait,
like
was that
3
5
to
plates?
5. No, 5 plates is 495. So it's
No, I
4
405
plates
is 4
plus
plates.
some.
Yeah, I did 5 plates. Come on, Brad.
You did not do
Whoa.
5 plates.
To
No,
squat?
you
You
did not.
squatted 5 plates?
No.
No.
Deadlift.
He's talking
Deadlift.
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 Okay.
Sumo.
You did 4 plates.
Sumo.
I got a video on my phone of 4 plates.
Okay,
I got
okay.
video evidence.
There
of
we
that.
go.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But yeah,
Technology.
that was strong, especially in like a group class. Like,
Yeah.
is this true? I've heard that you used to teach at Cavell.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So you have group class instruction experience. Squatting that amount of weight is unheard of in a group class.
Oh, yeah.
That does
Yeah.
not happen.
Well,
right?
it's hard. I mean, this is the thing too, and plug for Pivot too. Just the way that pod room is set up allows for most group classes. You're going to be a little bit confined equipment wise and just the flow because you're usually setting up stations.
Exactly.
You don't have a lot of time necessarily to be changing out plates and weights and things like that. So the benefit of how they've set it up at Pivot in the pod room is you can have all the
big
different rigs. Yeah,
barbells
you
and
have
stuff
you have
like
multiple rigs on both sides, so you can kind of change weights, and especially when it's just more of a strength focus. Most group classes are going to be, by definition, it's going to be kind of muscular endurance, just because you're trying to get a lot of bang for the buck in 45 minutes.
Yep.
With warm up and all that stuff, and it's turn and burn, right? And so, but that's actually how I got my start in business, is through Cavell. So
Really?
Yeah. I was coming. So not to make this podcast about me, but really quickly, I played college golf, and after my sophomore year, I got super burnt out, and I took a little time off, and my goal had always been to play professional golf, and so I kind of had this like identity crisis moment of, well, what do I do now?
Okay.
And that's really when I found the gym. So what I used to do every day was I was at the golf course every day. I was playing, practicing, doing whatever. I got super burnt out on golf, wasn't sure if I wanted to continue playing. And so all of a sudden I had all this time on my hands, and I also took a semester off of school. So I had like a semester plus a summer. And I was like, what do I do with all this time?
Yeah.
And so I started going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I went to the gym before, but like I said, it was, body part splits and whatever. And I actually found Eric Cressy and Tony Gentlecore.
Sweet.
Those were my two guys, and I
Solid.
was, and then Paula Quint. You know, I was like T-Nation. I was reading every. It's like I was
know
all in. Yeah, I knew you would. I knew you'd speak my. I knew you'd speak my language on this, Brad. So I was like hook, line, and sinker. I just took all that focus that I had, was putting towards golf, and just poured myself into like learning about strength and conditioning, really, and getting stronger and all that stuff. And so, anyway, so then I thought I wanted to be a strength coach. I thought that's what I wanted to do with my life. Like, hey, if I'm not going to be a professional athlete, maybe I can train, high school kids. If I wish I had this awareness, because the really interesting thing for me is once I started lifting, probably within 3 months of like real strength training, getting stronger at squatting, deadlifting, things like that, as opposed to just like doing bicep curls and tricep push downs at the gym, my swing speed, now we're talking golf, you won't understand my language here, but my swing speed increased dramatically. So I was kind of a short knocker when I was high school and early college. I only hit the ball, 240, 245. I started strength. I went back to, I touched a golf club after a few months of just strength training. And all of a sudden I was hitting the ball like 300 yards.
Wow.
And it was like this light bulb moment for me. And I was like, oh, I want to train other people to do this. So that's how I ended up. I thought I wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach, worked for Brett at Cavell, and kind of learned pretty quickly that I actually didn't care about other people's fitness. I really cared about my fitness. So I didn't love coaching.
Different.
It's very different. So I didn't love coaching.
What's your philosophy, Brad?
On what?
Working out.
Oof. My philosophy on working out, strength first.
Yeah.
Strength first. I would definitely say strength first. I'd say that's tough. That's a very open-ended question. I'd say first, if we're talking super, super beginners, you just got to get doing something, right? Get doing something consistently for all of the health benefits. Yeah, we could talk the physical side effects or the physical aspects of that. I'm a big believer in it from the mental health benefits of it, right? Regular exercise helps me tremendously in the mental health side of things, and I think it helps a lot of people, right? So being regular there. Once you're regular with something you enjoy, then what I like to bias towards is strength training. I believe strength training is the best bang for your buck type of exercise there is, right? It gives you more benefits than any other type of exercise does, right? Yoga is great. Yoga is not going to build strength, right? It'll build flexibility, maybe some endurance, but it's going to have gaps, right? With strength training, if you're doing it well, you can improve flexibility, right? You can improve bone density, you can improve strength, right? There's just so many things that it hits, right? You can even do it in ways that will improve endurance, right?
Well, and just the benefits of having muscle mass on your body from a longevity standpoint,
100%.
from a resting metabolic, how
Diabetes.
much everything, is going to be better by strength training.
Yeah.
And protecting ligaments too, kind of in a way, doesn't it?
100%. 100%.
Training through full ranges of motion and all that.
Yeah. So I like to bias towards that, right? And that's what Muscle Camps is built around. Muscle Camps is a 3-day-a-week strength training program because we believe that 3 days a week is kind of the minimum any person needs to age well over the long term, right? So we make it 3 days a week, so now we have your base covered, right? And then from there, we communicate to our members, layer on top of that whatever you like, right? So we have some people, super busy professionals or super busy moms, all they're doing is the 3 days a week. That's all they have time for. Cool, right? You got your bases covered, right? We got some people that are more endurance athletes, so they're other days of the week, they're on their bike, they're running, whatever it is. We got some group of ladies in there that are more focused on the muscle building aspect, so they're doing training more like bodybuilders outside of the class. So it really is catered to whatever the person wants, but that base, I think, is 3 days a week strength training. Then on top of it, you should be active most days per week, right? But layer on top of that whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, muscle camps are great, but you also do personal training, meal planning, you do the online stuff. You want to talk more about those too?
Yeah. So I view it in terms of like my personal training business. I view muscle camps as the funnel, right? Muscle camps is where people start with me. One, because of the community, right? I think that hooks people, right? It makes them give them a place of belonging, right? And then from there, it also gives me a lot of touch points with that person. I get to see them 3 times a week, right? Especially when we first onboard them. We do a lot of nutrition touch points as well. So now all of a sudden they're talking to me 4 or 5 times a week, right? So now they're connected. And then after they've been connected for a while, they'll start to see some progress, right? Once you start seeing progress, then the whole hook of it from a business side of things is, hey, I've got a wedding coming up, or this so-and-so has a wedding coming up, right? Then there's a referral, right? And then that's where it leads into the personal training, the online training and stuff like that, where I start getting more money kind of per customer, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the business side of it really starts taking off.
And that's a good, I wanted to ask you about the MBA because you have an MBA.
Yeah,
I would
but
say,
I don't use it.
Well, you do though.
Well,
No, you
kind
do.
of.
You
Yeah,
absolutely
you
do.
did.
And that's kind of where I wanted to go with that.
Inadvertent way.
Exactly, is because and this was one of my frustrations when I was more so in the industry is like personal training. The barrier to entry is pretty low, right? And so you as a personal trainer kind of get lumped in with every other personal trainer.
Yeah.
And it's like, for some reason, everybody is like interested in physical therapy that's most personal trainers, like they probably at one point in their life thought they'd be a physical therapist because
It's
for
safe.
whatever reason. Yeah. And like, there's like not the perception or something is like, oh, it's a better
Actual
career or
career.
something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas personal training doesn't necessarily see
Dealt
that.
with that same thing.
Yeah. And so, but you having an MBA, which I didn't know that you had an MBA. That's really cool. Like how does that work? Because you like sort of work for Pivot, but you actually have your own entire, like you have your own business that you are running.
Essentially, yeah. And again, that is luck, and thank you to Kristen, right? I got an awesome gig. And I walked into a really awesome setup for myself, right? So I don't own any of it. Any of it. She owns all of it, but she empowers me and gives me complete autonomy, complete trust to try and fail, right? When I first started at that gym, I had the gym management experience from my times at rec centers, right? I managed at both Boise State and University of Oregon, right? So I had a few years of related experience. Got hired on. I was one of her first hires, right? And she was starting the gym. She had virtually no experience running a gym, right? She had run other businesses, but never a fitness center. So I had relevant experience, right? And I was just coming out of college. To be honest, I had debt from undergrad. So I was in a very prove myself time, right? Like I had to make money and I had to make it happen, right? Sort of thing. So I applied. I was pretty much, long story somewhat short, I was pretty much the first manager there. And in that management gig, she basically was like, hey, just run it by me, but you can kind of make calls on your own, right? And just gave me a ton of freedom to try and fail. Fast forward, I stopped managing and went full-time personal training, so I stepped down, right? But at that same time, I started muscle camps, and then again, complete autonomy, complete trust, try and fail. So I didn't have really the awareness, right, that I have now, or my name wasn't out there like it is now, right? From a personal training, I didn't have the demand then. So I just started super low prices on purpose to cast a wide net. I overworked myself for the first 2-3 years, just working crazy hours. And then every time the classes got full, I would just up the price on the exterior, up the price. So when people would drop off, which happens in the gym industry, right? They would be replaced by their friend who they referred me. Their friend is always at the higher price. So it's been slowly just scaling that way.
Yeah.
But I think the muscle camps, the way you do it too, makes it obtainable for people too. Because I mean, personal training on its own can be pretty expensive.
Exactly.
So you get the community.
The benefit of group training, right?
Yeah.
Is you get
Bingo.
And it's not just you. You have other people who help too. Come on, Anthony. Come on.
Anthony, man, he has been awesome. No one person has ever helped me more directly than that guy. I can go for days talking about that guy. He is one of the kindest people I've ever met, one of the most hardworking people I've ever met, and just a down-to-earth good person. People really, really love that guy, and I'm super grateful for him. I couldn't do it without him.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I would imagine that with Kristen giving you autonomy and things like that, it also comes down again on the business side to incentives, right? And like the structure of she probably does better as you do better because again, it's under the umbrella of her company, but she's not necessarily, I would imagine, putting a cap on what you are able to do. So it's like, hey, go out there and grow this as big as you can, Brad. And like your upside is there, her upside is there. So it's this symbiotic relationship, and that that can always be that's a big part of structuring compensation and employment contracts and things like that, to say like, how can we make this how can we align incentives, which can be hard sometimes, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the incentive alignment is interesting. So when you were getting your MBA, did you at that point already know that you wanted to stay in the fitness industry, or did that, like, were you getting an MBA with the idea of like, I'm going to use this in the fitness world, or was it, I'm getting an MBA and I don't know where it's going to take me, but this just is a good degree to have, and we'll kind of see, I want to be in business in some capacity?
Yeah. So I always wanted to be a personal trainer. Like, I've wanted to be a personal trainer since I was like 18, honestly. But kind of the stuff you were talking about, it's not a real career, right? And making money, being successful was always important to me, right? I came from poverty, right? So I didn't want to be broke. So I was nervous that I couldn't make it or be successful. So I was always like searching for a safer option, right? Physical therapy being that option, the MBA being kind of an extension of that option. So I wanted to do physical therapy, but I was always kind of seeking like related but safer routes. So I thought that I was going to get an MBA, and I essentially assumed that I was going to start like managing Equinoxes, right? I was going to be like regional manager for Equinox, Southern California type of thing, right? And that was kind of the mindset going into it. But just as I started applying to stuff, and I really liked Boise, right? I moved here and I really enjoyed it, and I didn't want to move away from Boise. So I started looking at stuff around here and just found Pivot and decided not to go. Again, that was a big risk, right? Because I wasn't
Small
a manager.
startup gym.
It wasn't a manager position. So I was basically making a choice to ditch my MBA, ditch basically guaranteed salary, close to 100K jobs, like pretty much right away, right? I ditched it to be a part-time personal trainer at 4 different gyms, right? I was doing Pivot, 2 locations. I was doing, I don't know if you remember Upcycle, used to be in Bodo downtown. I worked there. Then I worked for a yoga studio. It's now Yoga 6, but it was called something else at the time.
Hustling.
So yeah, I was doing 4 part-time jobs, teaching 5 a.m. classes, 6:30 p.m. classes, right? My schedule was all over the place.
Grinder.
And I just slowly streamlined it down to Pivot, right? And then once I was focused at Pivot, then I slowly started growing at Pivot.
Yeah.
You know, Casey and I talk about this all the time too with Boise, right? And just the surrounding area, how cool it is with word of mouth and how important that is.
Man,
Small town.
Huge. Yeah,
right?
it is.
And building your reputation, your brand is cool. Now you're at that point.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So what made you, because you probably came to Boise just for the MBA program. Again, it sounds like you were thinking already in your head, probably won't stay in Boise.
Yeah.
So what's kept you here?
Oh, man. I think hands down, it's the best city, best large city in the Northwest. And it's not even really close, right? I grew up in Oregon. So I think when you grow up in Oregon and you want to be air quotes successful, whatever that means, right? The thought is that you have to kind of move to Portland to make that happen. That's where all the opportunity is. And I don't want to say too much, but I'm not a huge fan of Portland for a lot of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Now that I've don't live in Oregon anymore, right? Similar issues, right, in terms of Seattle, in my opinion, right? Boise, you don't really get any of that.
Hey now.
You don't really get any of that.
I grew up in Seattle.
Did you really? I didn't
No,
know
at
that.
Arlington, about an hour north.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I lived in Edmonds. But I made same thing, right? Just
Yeah.
moved there because of that
You
reason.
guys are both here. So yeah.
There's a
100%.
reason.
Yeah, it's always interesting. We've talked about this on the podcast, but I'm born and raised in Boise. So
Okay.
you know, it's always, when you grow up in a place, it's just where you're from.
Yeah.
And you kind of have that grass is greener mentality. And then it's always interesting to me to meet people who, like, I think Bend is incredible. Like, I love Bend.
Same.
I think Bend is incredible.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting to me to meet people who, you know, grew up in other areas or have lived in a lot of different places and come to Boise and they're like, oh, it's so great. Like this is the best place that you can be. And
I feel like Bend and Boise are pretty similar.
they're very similar.
Yeah.
Similar in a lot of ways. Obviously, smaller population in Bend, but probably more tourism in some ways.
Yeah.
Better golf courses in Bend, unfortunately.
There's
I
some good
felt
ones.
a sense of like deja vu when I first came over here, because I actually moved here without like coming here at all or anything. I just like signed a lease and accepted the job. I was like, cool, right?
Without even visiting.
Yeah, without even visiting.
Had you ever been
Send
here
it.
before? Like
No,
growing
I'd never
okay,
been
you
here
never
before, right?
Cool.
I just knew I was leaving Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But as I'm like literally driving into Boise, my first place was off of Broadway, right? So I'm I-84, taking that Broadway exit and like turning left to come down Broadway, and just looking around, I was like, man, this kind of looks even like Bend. It felt like deja vu, felt like already kind of like home, right?
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I like it. Are we doing our segments now or what?
Oh no, I was just
You
giving
gave me
you.
a
I was
look.
giving
I
you.
was like,
I was giving you airtime if you had a question for
Go.
if you had a question. I think we can keep going.
Yeah. What's
let's do it.
next?
Oh, I don't know. I was just. I was
know.
hoping this would- we're gonna cut all this. This all gets
He
edited
just
out.
looked at me. I was
This
like,
all
what
gets
just
edited
happened?
down.
I was going to ask a
Edited
question.
down. Yes. Okay. Get back on track here. You talked a little bit about Anthony. He's effectively your business partner in Muscle Camps. Yeah. I have a business partner. Spencer's got a bunch of business partners and different things. Like, talk to us about business partnerships, right? We're talking about Idaho, but also we talk about business on here, and business partners, business partnerships.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's
Not easy.
Yeah,
Not
can
easy.
definitely like you can find horror stories, right? And I'm very fortunate that I have a business partner that we've been together for 9 years. Still have a good relationship and work well together. But yeah, I guess talk a little bit about you said you could talk about Anthony for days, but talk to us about what you've learned about having a partner in business and working together.
And it's been really cool, like our relationship is, I think at first it was very much a mentor-mentee relationship, right? I had the experience. I actually met Anthony through Boise State. I was, again, managing the personal training department there, and he was just a student, knew he wanted to be a personal trainer, so he asked me for a personal training intern. So he was actually my first unpaid intern. So I had him, then I had a whole bunch of paid personal trainers underneath me, and I was doing a lot of like fitness events, like I did powerlifting competitions and stuff like that over there. And even though he was volunteer, he was always like running circles around everybody else that I was paying to be there. So I was like, okay, I like this guy, right? Sort of thing. And fast forward, he graduated, I graduated, and then he somehow found out that I was managing Pivot and then applied for a job, right? And I basically like away, as soon as I got his application, I was like, yeah, okay, come on in. And so he started fairly green, right? He started fairly green. I had the experience. So early on in muscle camps, it was a lot of me just showing him the ropes, right? I would come up with a lot of the philosophies, definitely a lot of the business side of things. This is our strategy for the next 6 months or whatever, right? I was coming up with a lot of that, but he was just another doer, right? He was just another doer. He's really good, and you can see from the bodybuilding side of things, once he's focused, right, he just puts his head down and just achieves and just goes, right? So I could just kind of send him in a direction, right?
Point him in the right
he
direction.
would just do it, right? And he's good at it, right? He's good, and he's really good at making people feel good, right? Like, he's honestly like the front end salesman, right? Just because he's so dang charismatic, right? He can talk the shoes right off your feet, right? Sort of thing. So he slowly developed that way, and now it's much more much more equal partnership to where he comes up with ideas and kind of like what you're talking about with, I guess, the challenges of a business partnership. Like, he challenges me more so now, because it used to be more so, hey, let's do this. And now he thinks about, like, because he's seen it, right? He's been there for the 5 years. Yeah. So he's seen the choices I've made that haven't gone all so perfectly, right? So he questions a little bit more now. He's like, hey, what about if this happens? Or what if we tweak it like this? Or I'm the type of person to, like, I will take this thing that is going to be a good idea, but then how can I add 10 more layers to it to make it really, really complicated and time consuming? And he's he's really good as like, do we need all those things? Can we make it like this, right?
Yeah.
So he does a lot of that, and I
cool.
need that.
That's balance, so that's what's cool about a partnership.
Yeah. Well, and I think in a good partnership too, you need a healthy tension.
Yeah.
Right. You sort of need that healthy tension of, I've said that, in being in business, in entrepreneurship for a lot of years now, I've had a lot of conversations with people who have, sat down and asked me, hey, I've got this, I'm trying to decide if I want to take a leap and go try to start something, whatever. And I talk to them a lot about the benefit of having a partner. Even if you have an idea, get a partner. There's a reason, like Y Combinator, which is one of the most famous kind of startup incubators in like Silicon Valley. They don't accept applicants who don't have a co-founder. That's like part of their ethos. And I liken it to having a partner at the gym, like a buddy that you're lifting with, right?
Yeah.
It's like this morning, Quinn and I did like a little finisher after it's like you're doing a finisher, you're doing like a conditioning set. Obviously they suck, right? It's like, I know that if I go in and I'm by myself and I tell myself I'm going to do 6 rounds of blah, 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 I might get 4 rounds in and be like, that's good enough, right? But if I'm with someone, bet your ass I'm not going to be the one that says, let's just do 4 rounds today, right? If it says 6, like we're doing 6, I'm not going to be the one. And it's like the same thing in having a business partner is you're like, I don't want to be the one to let you down, right? It's the accountability that's built in to have someone else that you're accountable to. That's like, and that's, I know for me with my business partner, Dan, it's like, from day one, it was like, I also felt like this guy was taking a flyer on me because I was a 25-year-old kid and he was like 40 years old. And I'm like, we're equal partners. And it's like, I didn't have a lot to bring to the table from a capital infusion standpoint, right? I was like just out of college. So it was like, I got to earn my sweat equity here. It sounds like Anthony kind of had that same perspective of like, oh, you're bringing me into this fold. I know where I can contribute is I can like really hustle and make sure, and be that side of the thing. So yeah, partnerships are fun. The ebbs and flows and the dynamics, and it's cool that you guys have that, you can have that back and forth and kind of, I also liken it to like raising a child together where it's like, at the end of the day, we both care immensely about like, we both want the same thing. We both want what's best for the business. But sometimes we might disagree about what that is. Definitely. And so like, as long as you keep that in mind, that through the disagreements, through the whole thing, like it's coming from the same place of like, it's like we both want the same thing for this kid. And like we might disagree on how much iPad time they should have, but at the end of the day, it's coming from a good place. And so we can have this back and forth and we can disagree and we can work through it because we know that we're aligned on, we both want the best outcome here.
100%.
And it's interesting. I could talk about business partnerships for a long time, but
that's interesting to me because I nerd out on business stuff all the time. One of the guys that I follow, he actually, I'm trying not to cuss. I cuss a lot.
Say it.
Okay. He shits on having a business partner quite a bit, right? Especially like when you're starting out, and like he's saying, like why you're splitting the profits, right? Unless that person brings something you don't have to the table, such as capital, such as a skill set, right? If it's 2 redundant skill sets, which you could argue me and Anthony are at this point, very redundant skill sets, he's like, what's the point, right? What's the point? But I have felt kind of what you're talking about in terms of like the balancing of each other out. Like we just went through kind of a rough spot business-wise this past month, and both going through it, right? But it always just equaled out to where I was having a low day. I'm like, man, did we mess up? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, nah, dude, we're good, right? And 2 days later, he was down like, oh, man, I'm stressed out. I'm like, dude, we're fine. We're fine.
100%.
It's chilling.
Oh, man, I resonate with this so much. It's the, I've been the same thing where it's like, hey man, I don't have it right now. And I got you. And then vice versa. And you kind of see those ebbs and flows of like life. Life takes its toll and the business must go on, right? So
and it's leverage too, right? I mean, you leverage each other to help, right? Because you deserve personal time, things away, to be able to do that. I think that's a huge thing.
And we do that. It's cool, right? Like, because we've been teaching, because we teach all the muscle camps classes together, right? So we have hundreds of classes at this point teaching at the same time, right? So now we do that in class without even saying it, right? Like he can read it off of me if I'm having a bad day, I didn't sleep good, maybe I had a rough session with a client, whatever, right? Like he can smell it on me that I walk in the gym and he just takes over the class. He doesn't say anything to me, right? He just starts leading, right? He just starts leading and just lets me kind of go into the background, kind of calm down a little bit, right? I'll do some computer work, some behind the scenes stuff, and he'll be more forward facing, right? but on when because he's a bodybuilder, right? So when he's doing a prep for a show, right, and he's super, super lean, super, super low calories, low energy.
He needs a Snickers.
It'll be the exact opposite, right? Yeah. During those months, right, I will take more of the lead up front. And I will lead a lot of the class, and he'll be more behind the scenes, kind of just spotting.
Conserving his energy.
Exactly. Quieter, right? Just quieter, right? Not the front-facing person of the class or of the program.
Yeah. Well, it brings up a good point too, right? You know, the gentleman you see, who'd you follow? The business guy you said earlier?
Alex Hermosi.
Oh yeah.
You know of him?
Oh yeah. You know Alex.
Hermosi's the GOAT.
Who doesn't know Mosey?
He is. And you know, but I think the other thing about it too is like money becomes a byproduct, right? And I think, you know, what is your end up goals for each of you guys, right? And what that looks like. Because money can happen, but like having personal time, having balance, having someone to count on, that leverage piece. Yeah, there's a certain point where I think money might not make sense in certain situations for a business. But you know, what are your goals? Like if you're gonna grow this, you know, it's like working in your business versus working on your business, right? And what your goals are to you know, to expand. And I think I don't know, I think having partners is good. It's just setting the expectations and having good ones where you can have conversations and get to know them. Trust.
I think that's
trust is huge. Yeah.
Kind of the phase we're getting to now is like the first 4 years were just like survive, right? Like whatever you got to do, right? And that's definitely my mentality is like, I don't really care if I got to stay up all night or do 5 days in a row to make it happen, 12 hours a day. I don't really care, right? Like whatever it takes, I will do it, and I will burn myself out to reach a goal, right? I've done that multiple times. So that's a lot of how the first 3 years, kind of the fourth year, we started to hit our stride. We were basically booked all the time, right? But now we've been able to maintain being booked all the time for a few years now. So now we're kind of shifting to, okay, what are our goals? How do we shift this from surviving and just like making it happen to where we get a paycheck and it's a solid paycheck every couple weeks, right? To now, how can we prioritize and actually have some time for ourselves and mental capacity and all that sort of stuff? So we're shifting things behind the scenes now.
Well, like your buddy Alex, right? Education and that whole platform. I mean, you put that online through school and stuff.
Yep.
That could be a cool thing, and then expand outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always that thing, right? And I deal with this all the time being a realtor is like, people want you. And that's the hard thing with a front-facing type business, right? When it's you as the person. How do you give them the experience of you? They want you without making them feel passed off or not important, right? So that's what's cool about that online, if you can do it, is like they see you, they see your face. They get to see you at any point, whether they're here or they're across the country or the world. Remember that fact. And spread what you love and the passion you do.
And that what you're saying there is like one of my biggest hesitations, because if you would have asked me 5 years ago, or I guess I've been working for Pivot longer, 7 years ago, whenever I started working at Pivot, what my goal was, it would have been to be there for a couple years, learn what I need to learn, leave, start my own, right? But I haven't done that. And a large part of that is through working there for so long, the struggle with staffing and like replacing and thinking kind of what you're talking about in terms of replacing myself and replacing myself with people that care as much as I do, that are going to treat it like a professional, right? Like that's part of why I'm good at it, is because I'm full-time with it, and I'm not looking at this as a pass-through job. I'm not trying to go to college afterwards and go to physical therapy. It's not a part-time gig for me. I'm good at it because it's all I do, right? And you just don't find that very often in personal training gigs, right? Or group class gigs, right? It's always a very part-time thing to where you have a very small fraction of that employee's focus, right? They might be they might have a 9-to-5. They might be a single mom with kids. They might be both of those things, right? To where, okay, you get them for 1 hour a week, right? And you're teaching, like Pivot has, just throwing out ballpark numbers, you got 70 classes a week, right? So you guesstimate numbers of staff, 40 staff members, right? You got 40 staff members working 1 hour a week, right? Most of them working 1 hour, 2 hours a week. That's really hard to control quality, right? And keep quality up.
Well, and it's tricky from a standpoint. I saw this when I was working with Brett at Cavell, because I kind of transitioned out of coaching and into more of the business side of things. But also not only staff retention, but client retention, because people fall in love with a coach, right?
That is my number one thing.
Totally. They love a specific coach and they want to go to that coach's classes. And then if that coach leaves, you potentially lose those clients, right? Because like they were loyal to the coach more than they were to the program.
Yeah.
And that can be a tricky thing too, is like if you decided, hey, this muscle camp thing's getting huge, I'm going to hire someone to run some of the camps, the in-person coaching thing. It's like people are like, well, but I like being trained by Brad. Or you bring that guy in and people love that guy and he only, he stays for 18 months and then he moves on. And they're like, well, I was only staying because I love that, I love Joe or whatever, right? So it's like a tricky, and that's kind of what Spencer's experiencing now as his real estate business is growing, is like, he's now got all this support staff that can handle different parts of the transaction. But the customers know Spencer, right?
Yeah.
And they want
to talk to you.
They want to talk to him, right? And so that's a tricky part too. And it gets challenging. It's a good problem to have, right? It's a good problem to have, but good problems are still problems.
For sure. For sure.
And then you have good clients, and then you're like, well, I need to help these people, but I also have to make a living. So now you got to increase prices, and then they're like, hey, why are you going up? I've been a client for so long. So it is brutal, a tough balance. But that brings back to a partnership too. Like with you and Anthony is maybe when you're doing it together, they know it's you, right? So you can almost kind of split that in a way. You can lose clients in that way, but if you have your mission, I mean, I'm always one of abundance, right? There's always going to be people out there if you believe what you're doing and you're consistent with it. So, I can help you guys too, right?
Yeah.
As together, you do the morning, he does the afternoon, whatever that looks like, to try to help and spread that across so you can spread, muscle camp and what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You brought up Gloria earlier, but that's been a
who's Gloria? I don't know.
Gloria is one of Brad. No, Gloria's not an inside joke. Gloria's a lovely woman that Brad trains 3 days a week.
Amazing.
3 days a week in the mornings.
Oh, in the morning, Gloria.
You've seen Gloria.
Yeah, I know.
So I've gotten to know Gloria a little bit too, but it's been cool. How long you been training Gloria? At least a year, over a couple years. Okay, longer than that.
Probably close to 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know how long she's been doing like mornings specifically, but I've seen just from an outsider perspective, Gloria's progress over the years has been really cool to see, and like that's probably, not necessarily outside of your like realm, but I think also like you're probably like me in that when you started training, like the allure of training like athletes, right? Like strength, doing that.
I thought it was all going to be jack dudes,
whatever.
It's not.
And it's it's not. It's definitely not. And so, just like, but I've also seen, Gloria's like strength, movement, quality, probably quality of life improves so much. And that's kind of goes back to the beginning when we were talking about like your philosophy, and it's like start from this foundation of strength, and from a longevity standpoint, I would imagine her quality of life has improved dramatically since like she just started working with you. So that's been cool to just see from an outsider's perspective. She's in there front squatting and doing like weighted lunges. She's doing weighted lunges. Yeah, she's doing all the things.
Getting on our squat rack.
And that's one thing. Well, maybe I'll save that for my good dirt, but we have a couple segments that we'll do with you here. But yeah, that's a cool thing to see, and that's a part too that. Again, in personal training, you get into those clients that come to you because they're maybe injured, or they recognize this like quality of life boost that they can get from getting stronger. And then she's like gotten to know all of us in the gym too, and it's like every morning I'm
awesome.
like, "Hey, Gloria!" Yeah, she's so cool.
She's awesome. Like I really love about this job, like the connections that I get to make with people, like. Let's be honest, right? Personal training, even muscle camps, right? It's a luxury service. So, like, the people that are paying for it generally are fairly well off. They've achieved some things in life, right? And I get to spend a lot of time one-on-one talking to them, right?
Yeah.
Picking their brains, right? And she's just someone that, like, I'm not a morning person, right? Like 7 a.m., that's early, right? But like I look forward to going to that session with her every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because she's always positive. She's always on time. She's always like, she's just brightens up my day. She brightens up everybody's day that I see her interact with. Just a really awesome person. In terms of like her physical progress, like she's super consistent, dude. She's super consistent. There's been a lot of times because she's Mexican, like actually from Mexico, Mexican, and she has extended family that's still down there that she's still really close with. So they go to Oaxaca quite a bit, right? And there's been tons of times when her and her husband, because I train her husband too.
Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey. And they will come back and they'll get back from a flight and say, yeah, we got back home at 1 a.m. They're there at the session at 7 a.m. Most clients are canceling that. Most clients,
I cancel.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they don't, dude. They don't. They're there. They're that consistent. And like, that is super, super cool to see. Like, that's someone who recognizes the benefits of it and enjoys it and is there just to push and to try and get better, right? And try and get better and sees how strength training and exercise adds to her life. And she's been doing it way longer than me. She's actually had a 3-day-a-week personal trainer for like 25 years. I've only been the one the past 4 or 5 years. She says I'm her favorite.
Yeah.
But she's probably told them all that.
I said that to my clients too.
That stripper, the stripper doesn't love you, Brad.
I'm her favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
super cool.
So Brad, like muscle camp, your philosophy on working out and building muscles, cool.
Yeah.
Can we get into a little bit about diet? Because I hear this all the time, and I've experienced this recently, right? In my life, like I've gained weight, I've lost weight, I've had a 6-pack, I haven't had it, and it's always interesting. Like I know how important it is, right? And I've noticed just like, and I've seen this, from you, is like being consistent and tracking your stuff is so important, and consistency, just like Gloria in her workouts, but also in your meal planning. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because I know you're really good on that. And it's helped me too, right? To be able to do that and lose some weight. Well, God, in like what, 30 pounds in like less than 2 months.
That's awesome. You're looking great, by the way.
Let's go.
Stay with it.
Look at that.
Stay with it.
I love it. So,
Let's go.
so food, meal plans, that kind of stuff. Can we get into that?
Food meal plans. First off, the number one thing I would say is to ignore social media. Ignore social media because there's so much conflicting information.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just getting you lost in the weeds, right? The average person, 99% of them already know what they need to do, right? It's eat less junk, probably eat some more fruits and vegetables, maybe a little bit more protein, right? Yes, all the tracking I do believe is important, but through my years of coaching nutrition, I would not recommend most people start there because it's too overwhelming. It's way too much. It's way too different than how the average person eats.
Yeah.
If I had to start someone with one habit that 99% of people can benefit from, what are you doing for breakfast, right? What are you doing for breakfast? Most people, if they're busy professional, skipping that, right? Fasting, going till lunch, right? I work with a ton of moms, right? All the moms, they're not eating till like 2 p.m., right? And that's not intentional, right? This isn't saying anything against them. That's just how their life goes. They wake up, they're taking care of kids, going to school, maybe they're going to work, right? They just got thing after thing after thing after thing, right? Then they look up, oh, it's 2 p.m., it's 4 p.m., I haven't eaten today, what's around, right? So like start with a structured but simple breakfast, right? Does not need to be anything crazy. I just started a new lady in muscle camps last week. We had this exact conversation. I was like, what is a breakfast that feels like so stupid simple that there's no way you could miss it? And she came up with 2 hard-boiled eggs and half a cup of berries. And I said, cool. That's the breakfast plan.
Works for me.
That's the breakfast plan. Eat that every single day.
Keep it simple.
Yep. Keep it simple, right? And then once you have consistency with that, right, then all these positive feelings start coming, right? Okay, I now believe I can be consistent with something. I now feel a little bit better energy because I'm more well-fed throughout the day. Hey, my workouts are going a little bit better because I'm showing up and having eaten before then, right? Now that person is bought in after they've been doing it for a month, 2 months, right, feeling some of those benefits. Now they're bought in, and then they'll naturally be like, hey, like, what's the next step, right? I'm ready for more. And I say, okay, what are you doing for lunch? Oh, I have no plan for lunch. Let's start there, right? It's just introducing structure, right? I think food happens to people, right? They're go throughout their lives. And it's like, okay, I'm hungry. I have 2 seconds. What's close, right?
Oh, God.
Food can't happen like that. In order to be fit, healthy in everyday society, I think food has to be planned. Food has to be planned, right? Like I can tell you right now what I'm going to eat for lunch tomorrow, 2 days from now, right? I can tell you what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight, right? I think some level of that is important, right? I don't think you need to be as dialed as I am with it, as dialed as Anthony is with it, but you need to have an idea. You should have an idea what lunch is going to be tomorrow.
Yeah. Having a structure.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, the plug, but protein spot.
Great stuff.
Just go there, 3 meals, buy them for a week, and I just know I have to eat them.
Yep.
It's just done.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
I was doing, they had a breakfast, like an Idaho hash.
You like that?
Yeah.
Have you had the burritos?
I haven't had the burritos.
Dude.
I'm lactose intolerant. They do a lot of dairy in their stuff, right?
Dang it.
So the Idaho hash had no dairy in it, so I was doing that. And I was doing it every morning for a while.
Yep.
But then I started running into the issue because I could pick it up on like Mondays, but they would like restock their fridge, I think, on Mondays. So I was showing up to buy the Idaho hash, and they only have like a couple when I wanted a week.
It happens. I know.
I wasn't having it.
Yep.
They wanted me to come back midweek. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like, you got to have all 7 on Monday for me,
see,
or I'm not coming.
I did the same thing. They tried to sell me, and I told them, I'm like, the breakfast burritos, right? They had 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I need 7.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, well, I'm like, you sure there's nothing? They're like, hold on just a second, right? I always ask 3 times, right? Because the first one's like, no. I'm like, no, I need my breakfast burritos. Because I was going to walk out too. I was going to protest. And she's like, let me go check in the back. And then she asked the manager, she goes, oh, there's an order that's not due till I think the next day.
Okay.
So we can sell them to you. I'm like, okay, let's
nice.
go.
Just stole somebody else's
I
burrito.
did. Hey, I got mine. That's all that matters, okay? I need my macros.
Let's go. Let's go.
Lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
So you can't have whey protein?
Whey protein isolate. Whey protein isolate.
Gotcha.
Has the lactose already digested.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Go. Man,
yeah, you don't want to hang around me after lactose.
This room would be a lot smellier.
Oh yeah. The process of figuring out I was lactose intolerant was very much like that. It was rough.
Why does this room smell?
yeah, I don't know.
Well, did you do the elimination diet?
No. Because this was long time ago. I figured this out. But at that time frame, gluten intolerance was becoming a thing, right? So I was like, I must be
gluten.
Yeah, I must be gluten free like everybody else, right? So then I started, because like, what is gluten? It's browse. So it's like barley, rye, oats, wheat, spelt or something like that has gluten in it. So you cut out all that stuff, right? And eventually you're just eating pretty much potatoes, right? Unless you're doing like all the processed. Back then they didn't have as much processed gluten-free stuff. I still had this crazy gas, right? Like, okay, it's clearly not gluten, right? Clearly not gluten. And then somehow, I don't remember how, but like someone was like, why don't you try cutting out the dairy? And like basically right away it worked. Like,
that sucks. I love cheese.
Yeah.
I guess there's more still ice cream for me then.
Definitely.
Hey, we got dairy free.
Yep.
Got the coconut base.
Look at that.
some
I
good
love that.
Yeah. No, that's nutrition is definitely can be a minefield if you go down the path. And, so many things. And I think you just nailed it of just like keep it simple, find the things that work for you. You know, most people know, like I used to joke with Mark, another one of, my buddies that we lift with in the mornings. Mm-hmm. We used to joke about writing a nutrition book called Don't Eat Bullshit.
Okay.
And it was going to be a 1-page. It was going to say the book was going to be called Don't Eat Bullshit, and then like the only page was just going to be like, if it's bullshit or not. Like, you know what I mean? Come on.
You have
it's
an
pretty
idea.
simple. Like, just don't eat bullshit. And it was like, that's it. That's pretty much it. Like,
how do you think about it? Because you've maintained a healthy weight as long as I've known you.
Man, actually, Spencer and I were just talking about this. I don't know if I've had I've had a long journey with nutrition.
Okay.
And so we don't need to get into the full scope of it in this podcast, but basically, I have a structure. I tend to be, spoiler alert, I tend to be a little bit of an obsessive person. And so I can, if I get too in the weeds on something, I can go spiral down that and get way too obsessive about things. Mm-hmm. So I have learned that that's not good for me. Mm-hmm. And so to your point, I don't track things because it becomes a thing that's almost does more harm than good, right? Because I get neurotic about it. And then it's like, oh, if I go over this by that amount or whatever, then I'm like beating myself up. And it's like, well, the whole point of this is to feel better, not to feel worse about yourself because you're upset that you didn't hit something. So it's like the same reason I don't wear a Whoop or an Oura ring or something like that. It's like, you know, I want to wake up in the morning. If I feel good, I feel good. I don't want some watch telling me that I actually slept like shit.
Feel bad.
Yeah. And then I should feel bad. It's like, you know what? Like, I don't need that. I'm going to work in the structure. So I sort of have, you know, foods that I think like I try to follow a relatively whole food diet of sort, you know, eat real foods, don't eat bullshit. And so there's like this structure of foods that I am like, these are healthy, good foods that are nutritious and are going to like fuel my body. And I can eat as much of those as I want to.
Sweet.
And that's kind of where I land. I don't track calories, you know, if I'm trying to like put on weight or lose weight or whatever I'm trying to do, maybe I'll, you know, be a little more intentional about eating more, eating less. But broadly speaking, I don't worry too much. If I have a day that's really, really busy and I end up not eating enough, I don't really beat myself up about it because I look at it from like the macro. It's like the stock market. If you look at each day individually, you're going to drive yourself crazy. If you look at it over time and you just say like, hey, overall on balance, am I eating the right foods and enough of them over the course of the last week or the month or whatever, I'm probably good. And so I just have, you know, I try to eat real foods. I try to, you know, think about getting enough protein. Everything starts there. Enough carbohydrates to fuel whatever it is I'm doing. And then fill in the rest with, you know, healthy fats, veggies, fruits, all those kind of things. And that's kind of how I think about it. I just try to keep it super simple and just don't eat bullshit.
Sounds quite sensible.
Yeah, but I don't really track anything. So
well, it's almost like you can break it down to like 3 different, right? You're either going to bulk up, you're going to lose weight, or you're just maintaining. In a sense, right?
100%.
So you can break it that way, and then start at one point and get there, right? Of like, I know that like you said, we're human, we make mistakes, but like if your goal is to lose weight and you have that general ideal, you build to that, get to that point, right? And then now you can maintain, right? It's like what your goals are. Like you're gonna be a bodybuilder, you know, you just want to look good with your shirt off during the summertime, you know, just those different things, but just break it out that way, you know, and just have grace for yourself too. I think.
And I think it is like you said, staying away from social media. It is like there's always a fad, you know, there's always, whether it's keto, whether it's gluten-free, whether it's high fat, you know, whether it's low fat, whether it's, you know, no carb, like whatever it is, there's always some fad happening. And you kind of have to just remove yourself from that. Again, I think you find a system or a structure that works well for you and that you feel good and that you can do consistently. Like you brought up consistency with Gloria, and you just commit to it and you just kind of stay within that. And then you give yourself grace for those moments where you slip up a little bit, or, you know, hey, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to drink a little more than I normally would drink. You know, that's like my vice is, even though I own an ice cream company, my vice is alcohol more so than it is like sweets or anything else. Like I love wine. I love bourbon. And so, you know, those things obviously don't necessarily match great with like a fitness, healthy lifestyle, but at the same time, it's something that I really enjoy. It's, you know, there's,
you gotta find the balance.
So you find the balance, and you don't overdo it, but you find a way to indulge in a way that still allows you to like be where you want to be from like the other side of things. So, I don't know, that's kind of how I think about it.
Having a plan.
Well, Brad, we loved having you on the podcast. If people want to find out more about you, your services, muscle camps, pivot, whatever, where should they go? Where can they find more about you?
So if you want to find me, probably the best spot is going to be on Instagram at BradCross921. If you're looking to find me at Pivot, then just go to Pivot, talk to the front desk.
Okay. I like it. Let's do the funky
you went to a cooking class.
Ooh, how's that?
Yeah. Let's go funky.
Don't talk about that.
Let's go funky and sweet first.
Okay. Our funky and sweet segment brought to you by the Funky Taco and the Still. Brad, something funky or something sweet that's happened to you in the last week?
Oh, something funky. I wasn't expecting to start with this one. Something funky or sweet that happened. Actually, this happens quite rarely with my clients, and I am grateful. Tim, you're the man. Tim regularly brings me sourdough bread to my sessions because he's a baker. So he bakes me fresh sourdough bread and bribes me out of burpees.
Every week?
Pretty close. It's like every other week at least, right? Like he times it beautifully. As the loaf is running out of my fridge, he just magically appears with another one. It literally happened yesterday. I ate the last slice, showed up to class. He's like, your bread's in the office. I was like, oh, I love you, Tim.
Bribes me out of burpees. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
My turn. I'm going funky. Okay. On Kootenai, the speed S's. You know the curbs?
Yeah, I hate those.
Okay, yes. Stupid. Sorry, Mayor, or whoever did that. They were the dumbest thing ever. Right? Yep. ACHD, all of it. Because, people, they stop usually now too, right? Because they don't want to hit you. So it's almost like a traffic jam.
Yeah.
And then me being me, I was telling someone, I was on the phone, and I was like, yeah, these are the dumbest things ever. So of course I get my phone out, right? And I go to try to take a picture to show someone and just snap it. And of course I didn't turn fast enough, turn the wheel, hit the curb on the side, and then delaminated the side of the sidewall of my tire. So that cost me like, I don't know, $400 and a bunch of time at Costco.
Yeah.
So funky.
I do hate those things.
Sounds funky.
I'm with you on that. I'm also going funky. Last 3 words that you don't want to hear in the same sentence. My dog had an anal gland abscess.
What?
Yeah. So
is this rooted Idaho after dark, or what's going on here?
Yeah. So
I like this podcast.
So my dog, yeah,
we talk about everything.
Not a pretty funky situation, but yeah, she had an anal gland abscess, which, like I said,
how did you find that out?
Well, it's pretty like obvious because they're like.
Well, they're known. Well, your type of dog is known to have those.
Yeah, they're like. Their butt is all gross and just like basically it's like not to make anyone's stomach turn, but like the buildup in the anal gland, it doesn't express naturally, and so it like literally abscesses out of the gland, and so they're just it's not. It's about as bad as it sounds, to be honest.
That sounds
so anyway, I had to like get her to the vet, and then she was in a cone all week and on antibiotics and the whole thing. So makes for a unique week when you're dealing with that. And then you're like, I had like towels over all my couches and stuff, and kind of gross. So
no fun.
Sorry to share that, but
No fun.
that was my funky part. We just had our revisit today, and everything's looking good. She's doing great. She's out of the cone of shame.
Cool.
She doesn't smell.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, that's funky.
Good.
That's nasty.
It's good. It was pretty funky.
All right, we're doing the good dirt, Brad. Brought to you by Southie Real Estate. Things are going on in the community. We want the good kind. So what do you got for us?
Good dirt, easy. The HYROX program over at CrossFit Casual. You guys already had Brian on.
Yeah.
Brian and Chris over there are doing awesome things. They have a really positive community growing over there. If you're interested in running, anything related to that, or HYROX style classes, that's the place to go.
Yeah, you're getting into HYROX, aren't you?
I did 2 races. this past year. Tons of fun, great events, and I think kind of a no-brainer. That's the place to train for it if you're trying to get into it. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Look at that.
I'm going to stay on the whole theme of today, and I'm just going to good dirt is pivot.
Let's go.
I haven't talked about pivot on this podcast too much, but like I said, this is where I've been working out for the last 5 or 6 years now. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love about Pivot is, especially like there's different options for everybody at Pivot. It's included in your membership. They've got the yoga classes, they've got a cycling studio, they've got the pod. It's a super low cost membership. So, and all the classes are included in your membership. I don't do any of it. I've actually never taken a class at Pivot, which I've talked to some people who do pod, and they're like, I can't believe you just use this as your gym because the open gym area is obviously
pretty small.
It's small. It's small, and it's not. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that some of the larger gyms have. But what's kept me at Pivot is the community for sure. I love the guys that I work out with in the mornings. I love seeing Brad and Gloria in the mornings. Spencer's been coming lately, and just like the people like Tom. I mean, Tom. How have we not talked about Tom? How have we not talked about Tom on this podcast? Tom Zito is one of one.
Yeah, for sure.
You must experience Tom to understand Tom.
Very consistent.
Very consistent. Tom's there every morning, and he's an absolute character.
Yep.
And so it's cool that the people I've met there and just like the little sense of community. It's a great gym that I've really enjoyed being part of. So
that is a really good description of Pivot, right? That the variety. That's exactly how I think about it. Is we have more options than really any other gym in town at a good price. That was a really good description.
A great point. Well, and what's funny is like I've talked to some of the because we in the open gym area, we have like our own little sub community that I'm like, I don't even know the yoga people.
No, or the bike people. Like, who are these people?
I don't know
you just
that.
see them pass.
You know, I see the class people because there's the window that like passes through. So like I've gotten to know some of those people just as they like come in and out. But it's so funny, and it's like such a small gym that like the other morning, was it you that was like, God, it's busy today? And I counted up the people. I was like, there's 10 people in here.
but it feels that way. It's almost like
because it is a small open gym, but like it's just it's funny too to go at like different times of the day and see like the other, you know, oh, this is the afternoon crew. Right. This is I'm like so part of the morning crew, but I love it. Like I know I'm on a first name basis with like everyone there, and it's just it's a cool place that you know, I've enjoyed being part of. And
it does kind of have like its little subgroups within the greater community. There is like the cycle crew that like Kristen's obviously the head of, right?
Yeah.
There's the muscle camps, there's the pod people, there's the AM, there's the PM, there's the yoga crew, right? That's interesting that you noticed that. That's cool.
It's fun. That's cool.
My good dirt. You know, I'm going to go Season and Taste cooking school. You know, downtown on 8th, they got the glass wall. You can look down. People watch while you're cooking. They do like 70 classes. So all sorts of different stuff. Italian food. You know, Christina's the owner. I've known her for actually a while. They do a good job. It's kind of a fun thing to do.
Cool.
So,
Sweet.
What did you learn to cook?
Oh, beef Wellington.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
This is
That's
a
cool.
fancy person's corn dog.
Yeah, there you go.
Had it come out?
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Sweet.
You got the chef there, and it's a whole group thing, right? So you get a group of people, you eat together at the same time.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
Yeah, it's just a fun thing to do, right? I mean, you don't always have to go to a bar on a Saturday night, right? You can
Go
enjoy
learn
a
to cook.
cooking
Name
class.
one more time.
Season and Taste.
Season and Taste.
It's on 8th. They
cool.
just moved there. It's on the second level of the Zion Bank building.
Okay.
Sweet.
there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you could only pick one exercise
Uh-oh.
for the rest of for
me to do?
for you to do, let's say for you to do, and then for your clients to do. If you could only
me
pick
to
one,
do-
what's the king exercise?
I'm a bit crazy. I like legs. I want the pain. I like the pain. So I would probably go something honestly like what you do. The deficit split squats, Bulgarians.
Okay.
Just get as nasty with it as possible. Something like that.
No.
Yeah. Just
Deficit
make it-
Bulgarians
yeah,
are wicked,
just
dude.
Gruesome. Just make
Let's
it
go.
gruesome, right? For clients, then I would go more function based. I would say my brain still kind of goes towards legs. I would say either a squat or a deadlift. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go squat just because I have seen people get hurt less frequently with heavy squatting than heavy deadlifting.
Okay.
So I would go with probably like a barbell back squat or a front squat.
If you had to pick one upper body.
One
movement.
upper body. Oh, I'm a big fan
Dips.
of dips are up there. I'm a big fan of body weight. I would say probably a push-up just because it's accessible for everybody. I'd say my favorite body weight is probably a chin-up or a pull-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull up.
Those are the right answers.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Right on.
Appreciate you
This was
coming
fun,
in,
guys.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Good talking to you.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Until next time,
See ya.
this is Rooted in Idaho.